Nowadays, many technologies are produced in the West for people and businesses globally. Are there any technologies that are produced primarily for the third world countries that we can reapply for the West? Made for the rest and good for the West. So in which areas technologies are requested, let's say in Africa?
Yeah, we just have to go back to fundamental human needs. I mean, we all need health, we need shelter, we need food, we need access to water, etc. Energy, exactly. So we looked at this and we came up with a list of 8 what we call essential technologies. And they are the ones related to medical devices, pharmaceuticals, energy, information and communication, water, nutrition, transportation, and construction. So these are really areas which are absolutely essential. And the good news is that we all use them every day, and solutions exist in high-income countries. The problem is they have been designed for the context of high-income countries. And I worked for 11 years in the medical device industry, and the mindset was something like, let's design it for the West, and it will be fine for the rest. And unfortunately, that doesn't work.
Okay, so you're trying to understand, to do the reverse engineering design for the West that we can reapply for the West.
Exactly. I really believe, well, our drive is really to fight poverty in the first place. But the interesting thing is that once you design solutions for the context of low-income countries, the kind of challenges that you have to address end up being really interesting, inducing breakthrough innovation that is also interesting for the high-income countries. And I can explain why. In fact, it's because there is a lack of access to financial resources. So solutions have to be extremely affordable. There's a lack of access to trained people in low-income countries. And so they have to be very simple to use, the solutions that you design for these contexts. There's a lack of access to quality infrastructure, power outages, lack of waste recycling and things like that. So solutions have to be ultra sustainable. You cannot generate a lot of waste because nobody will take care of them. And finally, solutions need to be very robust because the environment of low-income countries is very harsh, high temperatures, humidity, etc.
What is the story of this transparent mask? Tell us more, especially in the pandemic. We're all using masks, we use different masks, and often we're going in public places and everyone wearing a mask, we don't recognize each other anymore, only by the smile of the eyes. So tell us more the story of the transparent mask.
Yeah, so that's an interesting case in point for our project. It's a project which was born out of compassion and an unmet need, of course. So we were working with Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, in 2014, 2015, on personal protective equipment, because Doctors Without Borders were confronted to the largest Ebola outbreak in West Africa at that time. And they came back complaining that they couldn't empathize or have a human relationship with desperately sick people who are dying of Ebola.
Patients.
Yeah, exactly, patients. So they were complaining because the patients could see only their eyes. And that was very hard for them, for these MSF people who are very, driven by strong mission to help people. And a little later, we were approached by a storyteller from a university hospital in Geneva. And she's telling stories to sick children. And for that, she has to wear masks. And the children were complaining that they couldn't see if she was smiling or the kind of state of mind she was in. And she told us, why can't we have a transparent mask? And we said, that's an interesting idea. Why not, in fact? And we reached out to the Material Science Institute in St. Gallen, who are experts in this field, and started a project in 2017. Before
this pandemic came, right?
Absolutely. We didn't know about COVID, of course. And so it took us 3 years to get to a point where we had developed a transparent material that was filtering enough to build a mask with.
And breathable.
And breathable, exactly. The funny thing is that we filed a patent, created a startup in March of this year, which was in the middle of a lockdown, And so once we announced this, the floodgates opened and we received thousands of expressions of interest and people wanting to buy and et cetera, et cetera. So it was really an interesting story where innovation can also come out of compassion and unmet needs. And I think that's everything that drives me.
How far are we from launching the mask?
So the company, I don't want to speak for the company. It's now a startup company. We've spun it out. As I said, what I think is that's going to be within the next 5 to 6 months. That's the only thing I can say. They're really fighting hard to try and industrialize it really fast now. But I cannot make any commitment.
Yeah, I understand. It will be a great, not even alternative need. It has, I think it's a little bit of different purpose, the transparent mask. As soon as you see the smile of your doctor, the moment you have a hope and this psychology, the motivation to heal, to fight.
Absolutely.
To fight the disease.
Yeah, that's actually been proven by many studies. The human relation is extremely important for very sick people or patients. And so that was also fundamentally a motivation for this project.
There is a certain synergy between different investment groups, between West and, let's say, for Africa. What's happening here? Please tell us more.
Well, I think that we are seeing something that, there has been a lot of talks about globalization. I think real globalization has not happened yet. And I mean globalization of good solutions that are, have the characteristics I mentioned before. I think if you design something that is working everywhere, pretty much everywhere, and is optimized to work in, resource-constrained contexts, we are going to see a true globalization, not only of the technology, but also of investors. We will see, and I really hope we will have more and more investors from Africa investing in technologies in Switzerland, and in Switzerland investing in technologies in Africa. Africa is such a vibrant continent. It's extremely young. It will double its population within the next 30 years. So there is a lot to be developed there. It's a fantastic environment to explore.
People are dynamic, hungry.
Absolutely.
They're ready to do it.
And we work with students. It's interesting, fascinating to see how Swiss students have to be a little bit nudged into becoming entrepreneurs. African students, you don't have to do that. I mean, they're natural-born entrepreneurs. They do that very naturally, and it's fascinating to work with them.
Thank you for watching this episode with Klaus Schonenberger from the Essential Tech Center at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. Stay tuned to our next episode of Inside Tomorrow in partnership with Dukascopy TV here in Geneva. I'm your host, Yelena Ganzov-Vandermeersch.